people who work here and the people who volunteer here feel like animals are part of your family. Hi, my name is Tammi Rex. That's Mr. Chow. Yeah, that's him when he was a kitten.
That one's good. Go for
There's
it.
a lot of good ones. This is our cat area. A lot of the animals that we get in, we have to evaluate on a case-by-case basis because some of them cannot be turned around, and other ones, it's just they're a product of that environment specifically. Like Cyrus, we took a half an hour to get him away from his doghouse because he wanted to attack us. So we took him out on a snare pole. Once we got him to the shelter, he was a completely normal dog. On a case-by-case basis, he's in a home, family, they love him, he has small children to play with, but from the way he acted to begin with, we never thought that he was ever going to be adoptable. But sometimes you just get them away from that environment and they realize that they don't have to be that way anymore and they turn into a completely different animal. He's the best dog ever. Pit bull. Got him from a neighbor who wasn't taking care of him anymore, and had him for about 8 years, and he ended up with lymphoma. We went through chemotherapy for a while and it wasn't working, so we had to let him go. And it was just about a month or so after that I came to the shelter, and this picture was here. The girls at the shelter had gone together and paid for somebody to paint that for me. So I figured I should leave it here. They said I could take it home, but for now I'll leave it here.
Do you want to sit up front?
So Missy usually drives. It's the only vehicle the shelter has. I used to take all of the spay-neuter surgeries back and forth to Upper Sandusky every week for a couple of years. I have been a volunteer and board member for 10 years. I've been a humane agent for 7. I was thinking about that this morning. I've done just about everything there is to do at the shelter, from cleaning to transporting, surgery, yeah, helping with surgery. The farthest I've ever driven is South Bend, Indiana, and that was just the dog didn't need any medical care. It was a puppy that had been born at the shelter, and there was a veterinary surgeon in Wisconsin who wanted to adopt her, and so we did all the necessary checks that we normally do for adoptions, and he checked out well, and why wouldn't he? He's a veterinary surgeon. Yeah, updating Facebook pages, sending stuff to Pet of the Week, just about anything there is to do. At one point in time I've done it. I'm the treasurer of the board right now. Yeah, Facebook has really been a godsend for us because we update it almost constantly. There's several, and so people can really keep up to date with what's going on at the shelter in a way that you can't necessarily do on a website, or we wouldn't even have that kind of coverage without Facebook. And Missy is always taking pictures with her phone when we're out on calls, so people know almost on a daily basis what the humane agents are doing, what kind of animals they're pulling, what the animals look like, and so they know what our needs are right away. If an animal needs medical care, we'll post that we're on our way to the vet right then, and this is what the dog's going to need, and we're going to need funds to do it. And we get a lot of responses. We've got about 5,000 people on the Facebook page, so we can get a lot of exposure that way, and it's really helped with our adoptions and with our donations. She was tied out in front of the house. So
blazing sun here.
Yeah,
clear.
I'm good.
Yep.
So being a volunteer, you don't get involved as, I don't want to say intimately, but as much with the animals and their welfare. You do adopt-a-thons, that kind of stuff. We had been working with her for several years, taking dogs, trying to offering low-cost spay-neuter to help her get things fixed so that she wasn't having puppies and kittens all the time. And then eventually the house burned down, so we ended up having to take them anyway. So we have Eagle Scouts and Boy Scouts that will call sometimes, and they need to do some sort of a project. So basically I try to think of things that are appropriate for their age group. He did the agility equipment that's here, and he did if you can see the path back here, he did a walking path up through there with a bench so that the volunteers that come and walk the dogs, instead of just walking them in the grass, can walk them through a different kind of environment so they have a little bit more to smell and to see. Like getting a camera, like a headshot camera that we can wear for where they're like trying to attack us. You can see that. We'll be able to upload that video, and you can see what we see. When my company has good snow years, because we do a lot of plowing, then the shelter gets a lot more stuff. I'm like, what do we need that's big? A gas anesthesia machine? Let's buy that. A head cam? Let's buy that. So the shelter is going to get some stuff. Well, I think that most people feel like, and even in the law it's still, that animals are property. Most of the people that we try to adopt to, and the people who work here, and the people who volunteer here, feel like animals are part of your family. So if you're going to have one, it's going to be indoors. You're going to take care of it. You're going to get it the medical treatment that it needs. It's going to have enrichment activities. You're going to walk it. You're going to play with it. But there's a huge section of society that doesn't feel like that, and those are the ones that we see most of the time, because they're the ones that are tying their dogs out way in the back of the yard where they can't see them, and it makes the rest of us wonder, what's the point of having one anyway? Wouldn't it just be easier to not have it, and then you wouldn't have to even think about maybe feeding it every other day, or whether or not it had vet care, or whether or not somebody like me is going to come and tell you that you have to do that, or you're going to go to court. So, but I've learned that there are a lot more people like that than I think. I hope that changes, and I hope that us going out and talking to people prods them to move to the other side.